好，看得到我的荧幕吗 ？OK， 可以看得到我的荧幕吗？
可以。
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you have to log in to our Facebook group and also prepare your Google account. And we also have some homework you have to submit in our ILM systems. So basically, we have two classes for this course. We call a class A 基数吧，偶数 okay. So class A is the students I have teach before. The class B is the students you just enroll, you just join our class. So class A and class B. So you have to know which code numbers for your class. Okay, so today's please go to our Facebook group first. I have uploaded some documentation for you guys to download. The first is if you have to link my Google Colab Tours. And for the class B, you may not know how to use the Colab Tours in Python for Python. So I will basically to introduce the Colab Tours again. Okay, so please go to your Facebook group. So you may find the Google Colab Tours. So my source code is on the cloud. So you can have to see my source code and practice the source code and get how does we do the product recommendations. Today I would like to introduce 产品的推荐. So you have to promote the right product for your customers, especially when you watch the movies in Netflix. So I subscribe Netflix for maybe a couple of years. So Netflix always recommends some good video, some movies for me. So it's easy for you guys to know how to make the product recommendations by Python. Okay, so some students want to join our Facebook group. So then your students can join our group. Okay, so first to double click with the link I just provide. And you will log into my Python source code, especially in Google Colab. But you have to log in with your Google account. Since I have logged in with my Google account already, so please have your Google account ready and sign in with your Google account. So you may find my Colab source code here. Okay, if you log in with your Google account, so the first step you have to do is to make a copy of my source code to save the source code in your Google Drive. So how do you save a copy of my source code? So you can click the files here. So you may find it in the middle to make a copy in your Google Drive. Okay, so just click here to save a copy of my source code. And then you will get a new Windows. So you may find there is a copy for my source code. After you copy my source code, you have to rename the source code with your name, please, and delete the copy, this one, okay? So just delete the copy for the rest of the words. And also replace my name. My name is Steve, so just replace your name. Okay, so just delete Steve with your name. So I have a new name, EC Steve, for my new Colab source code. And don't forget to delete the first character in the file name here. They also has an extra character here, so you have to delete it. Okay, so for the file name for this class is Martech Chapter 6 Python Product Recommendation 推荐对的产品 EC with your name and .py and book. Okay, what is py? It means Python. What is NB? It's notebook. So this is a Jupyter notebook for run the Python source code. Okay, so your first job is to prepare your source code in your Google Colab environment. Okay, so don't forget to rename with your name, please. So our first homework on our Facebook group is please to just make a copy with your name, okay, and submit to our Facebook group. So I know how many students finish this process. And also you will get extra credit if you submit my homework. So have your source code. Okay, so just reply my homework, this one, okay? Just to leave a message. So you just pass the result. So I can check with your name here. Okay, so Huang Jinquan. Okay, Collie. I think the Facebook group is easy for us to monitor all the process for your guys, especially for online course. Because I don't know how what is your progress for the homework. So it's easy for me to monitor the process for all the students' behavior. Okay, it's easier, right? Okay. For the class A, I think it's very easy for you guys. For class B, so you have to learn more. Okay, so I will not push you too much. Okay, so 10 students. Okay, 15 students answer my homework. Okay, so 4 students. So if more than 20 students answer my homework, so I will continue our course. Three students more.陈什么？陈瑞吧，哈。You have to change with your name, please. 杨晨，这个是哇，嘿，杨晨什么？瑞还是什么 ？You should have to change my name with your name, please.
好。
Okay, Kitty. Okay, so right now more 20 students answer my questions. Okay, so let us go back to the source code. You just to make a copy of my source code. Okay, so today I would like to talk about the product recommendation. So what is the product recommendations? So you have to recommend the right product to your customers. Otherwise, your customers will not buy your product. So a product recommendation is basically based on a filtering system. So what is a filtering system? We call 过滤系统. So you have to use the programming systems to make some choice to filter the right person, the right product for your target. So we have to use the filtering systems. So that's why we have to know the Python. So you have the filtering tools to filter the right product, the right person with the right persons. Okay, so with filtering systems, we can, it's easy for us to predict and show the items and our customers. So the relationship between users, the relations between items, which is product. Okay, so basically, so I have mentioned for the Netflix, right now they use the movie recommendation systems a lot, especially for most of the e-commerce today, like Amazon, like eBay. They also do the same product recommendation system for their customers. That's all for business. So for today's course is our Python source code. So you know how to filtering the right items, the right customers, okay? Okay, so here is a website you may to check this one. It's talking about a recommendation system by Google. So we use a collaborative filtering, 协同过滤. So later I will explain what is a collaborative filtering, 协同过滤. So the Google gets movie recommendation examples for you guys. You can have some material for your reference. Okay, so go back to our Python source code here. Basically, for our recommendation systems, we have to find out the relationship between our customers and our product. Like the examples for movies. So the first customers, he likes these 3 movies. And for the second customers, he likes these 2 movies. So how can we to find the relationship between the customers and the relationship between the movies, which is your product? Okay, so let me introduce the data set for today's course. It's a real case for online retail, which is for our e-commerce, 线上的零售交易系统. So you may find the hyperlink here. So you just copy my hyperlink here, or maybe you can create this one. No, so you just copy the hyperlink with Control C, will copy, and have a new browser ready. Okay, so you will go to a website for machine learning repository, which is a database for machine learning. So what is a machine learning? I think a lot of students has heard about what is AI, artificial intelligence, 人工智慧. So in Taiwan, especially for all of the world, so every government right now, they are interested about the AI. So the basic topic for AI is you have to learn the machine learning, to let the machine to learn something from your data set. And then they can do some predictions to do a lot of job for you. Okay, so this data set is provided by UCI, which is University of California, Irvine. So I graduate from USC, 南加大, University of Southern California. I graduate from I think it's I'm in class 1992. 1992年, I graduate from USC Computer Science. It's 30 years ago. Okay, 30年前. Okay, so basically you see college is very top ranking for the college ranking in US. Especially you may heard about UCLA. Okay, so USC is very close to UCLA, maybe half hours driving distance. Okay, so for our online retail data set. So they have some data set descriptions for you guys. So you have to learn how to know the data set first. If you don't know the data set, it's impossible for us to analyze the data. So for the first step is we have to know the basic concept for this data set, online retail. So basically you can see there is an abstract 摘要. So this data set, this is a transactional data set, which contains all the transactions occurring between maybe I think it's 1 year from 2010 to 2011, okay, in a UK-based online course, online store, okay, e-business. So you have to know the description and the abstract for the data we have to analyze. 所以说你要先了解这个资料。它是一个1年的一个交易的资料 OK 在 UK 在 United Kingdom 在英国 So basically how many instances, how many transactions for this online course, for this online retail is more than OK is 54万笔的资料 OK 54万是 540,000 okay it's a lot of transactions for 1 year. And how many attributes? Later I will explain what is an attribute means. Attribute is the variable for each transaction. Okay, transaction is we call in Chinese 交易. So each transaction when you do on our e-commerce is the record for your orders. Okay, one order we call is one transaction. Okay, 一笔的交易，一笔的订单就是我们的一笔的交易，就是一个 transaction. Okay, so how many transactions for this year? 在1年当中呢是54万笔 more than 540,000 transactions in 1 year. Okay, for this e-commerce. Okay, so after you realize the data coming from, so and then you have to know the attribute information. So you have to know that 8 variables mean. We also call it column name, 栏位的名称 variable name. So with the transaction, so they have 8 attributes. The first attributes we call invoice number. So it's 就是交易的资料交易的number, okay, 序号 okay. And also with the second attribute we call stock code. Stock code is product code, 产品的编号. They also have descriptions, the product name as the description variables. They also have quantities, 数量. So how many quantity for each product, for each transaction. So the data type for quality is numerical, 数值型的. They also record the invoice date, okay, the invoice date and time for the transaction, 交易的时间. Also, they keep the unit price. 单价. Okay, so each unit price for the product. Someone is on, let me see. Okay. Okay, for the last two variables is the customer ID or customer number, 我们客户的编号. So like your school ID, your school number is the same, customer ID. And also the customers, which country the customers belong to. Okay, so we have these 8 attributes for our data set. So I have the whole description for this data set. So you know, so I translate to Chinese. So you may, if you can reference for the Chinese. Okay, so this the 8 attributes information here: invoice number, stock code, description, quality, invoice date, unit price, customer ID, and country. Okay, so you know the data set, so you may click this one here. Okay, so for our second step for our homework is you have to download the data set. If you can't download the data set, it's impossible for analyze the data for Python source code. Okay, so still we go to the website we just visit. For the data set description web page.
这是我在网络上找到的 Go to the website 的为相关结果，请看。
我的 Siri 乱入了哈。Okay, so you have to go to the data folder, this website, this one. Okay, so I can show you again. For the data set description, you click this one. So this website is the description for the data set. If you guys want to download the data set, the data set in Chinese we call 资料集. So it's the data for our computer to analyze. Like if you want to cook something, you have to prepare the materials. You have to buy the vegetable. You have to buy the meat steak for your dinner, right? If you don't have anything, you cannot make a good meat, right? So first, to click the data folder here. So we have to download online retail, which is a format for Excel. Okay, Microsoft Excel. So I have to click. So you may save your data in download folder, especially if you are right now I'm using Mac OS, so I save this data on download folder. Okay, just save. It may take you a couple minutes to download the data. right now I'm waiting for the download the data set. Okay, so I'm done. Okay, if you download the data set, so please have a look at, so you can check this data set with Microsoft Excel. Okay, to find, to show the data we just download. It's 23 megabyte. Okay, so you just double click. So Microsoft Excel can open this data set. Okay, so first you have to check the data first. So how many columns for this data set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? I have explained the meaning for each column. So for the first column, we call, for the column A, we call invoice number, right? Invoice number, 编号, okay? So for the column B, which is the second column, we call stock code, which is product code, product number, 产品的编号. For the column C is the description for each product. You can call this one is name for your product. Each name for the product. So we, with the product code, product ID, with the product name. Quantity, okay. 数量. Invoice date. The transaction date. Unit price, 单价 for each product. And also we keep the customer's ID. And also the country which the customers live. So we know the 8 variables. So you may take a look at the rest of the data, but it's hard for us to see all the content, especially in Excel. Okay, it's more than 450, right? Or 550,000, 超过了54万笔的资料. Okay, so since we take a look at the data set in our Microsoft Excel. Okay, so we just to leave. Okay, so don't save. Okay, so go back to our Python source code. Okay, so for our homework for today is you have to import the data set to Colab, which is the cloud server, okay, in Google. The first thing is you have to check the file managers of the left-hand side, navigator left-hand side. When you check this one, it will stop your server. If you didn't see the green chat, so you have to click to connect with your Google computer. compute agent. So it will start a server for you. Okay, so for the next, you have to mount our source code with your Google Drive by click with this icon. So you will see to mount with your Google Drive, 挂接云端硬碟. To mount with your Google Drive, just click this one. And you should get the permission from you. It will like to access your Google Drive with this Jupyter notebook, which is Python source code. So you just have to connect with your Google Drive. Okay, so right now it's mounting with your Google Drive. But sometimes you may see the here, so you may have to click this one. Let me see. Maybe let me see. Okay, so maybe you will see this source code, this one, from Google Colab Import Drive, this one. So if you see this one, you just click with this arrow, okay? Okay, if you mount with your Google Drive, you will see here a folder with Drive. If you didn't see the Drive folders, it means you did not attach to your Google Drive. So you have to click this one here. If you have mounted with your Google Drive, don't disconnect, okay? Don't. You can refresh, 重新整理. Okay, so you have to see this one, Drive. Okay, so our second homework in class is to show me, did you successfully mount with your Google Drive with your name, okay? Just show me your name and the Drive folders. So you know you get everything down till now. Okay, so this homework is to mount with your Google Drive. Okay, so for the first homework, 40 students get our homework 1 done. Carissa. Yes.